Hello friends of Oak Hills, this is Pastor Dale with our weekly video Touchpoint. Today is Thursday, October 16, 2025. We return to our reflections on the Proverbs. This is part 7. After 3 chapters that focus on resisting sexual sin, personified as the forbidden woman, Proverbs now introduces us to Lady Wisdom in chapters 8 and 9. This is a powerful analogy to contrast the 2 paths of wisdom and folly. Both paths are represented by a woman giving an invitation. Each woman opens her home and offers a meal. But the similarities basically end there. The contrast between Lady Wisdom and woman folly is to make plain the choice before each one of us. Will we not heed the call of Lady Wisdom? Let me highlight some of the differences that are emphasized in Proverbs chapters 8 and 9. First, their character is vastly different. Lady Wisdom is marked by prudence, sense, what is right, truth, and righteous words. Woman folly is loud. She is seductive and knows nothing. These character markers reveal the heart of each woman. Wisdom fears the Lord and seeks to conform to his holy standards. Folly rejects God and his authority, giving herself to her own selfish desires. This touches on the central theme of Proverbs. Your heart steers your life. So, which woman models the character you want for your life? Second, their desire for growth is vastly different. The path of wisdom says in chapter 9, verse 9, "Give instruction to a wise man, and he will still be wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning." Wisdom understands that no one is perfect. There is room for growth. The path of folly resists correction and growth. Chapter 9, verse 7 says, "Whoever corrects a scoffer gets himself abuse, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury." The point here is that folly says you are perfect just as you are. Just look inside yourself for your strength, for your acceptance. Folly leaves a person stuck in a hopeless, unchanging situation. Third, their end results are vastly different. Lady Wisdom says in chapter 8, verse 19, "My fruit is better than gold, even fine gold, and my yield than choice silver." And then again in chapter 8, verse 35, "Whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord." In contrast, woman folly leads to death and despair. It's a wonder that anyone would choose the path of folly. But we all do that every day. We get caught up in the instant gratification of folly's promises and do not take to heart the end of her path. This is why Proverbs is pressing these differences so that we might heed the warning. Fourth, their sources are vastly different. Wisdom comes from God. Lady Wisdom says in chapter 9, verse 22, "The Lord possessed me at the beginning of his work." And it continues to explain how she was involved in God's creative works. The point is that wisdom springs from God, his character, and his ways. We can define wisdom as living life as God has designed it. God created the world in wisdom to function and thrive in wisdom. Folly springs from and operates in our sin, rejecting God's designs and suffering for it. In a skillful manner, Proverbs has introduced us to 2 women representing 2 different paths for our lives. The forbidden woman, highlighted and emphasized in chapters 5 to 7, and the woman folly in chapter 9 invites us to follow her path to instant gratification and pleasure. It is a path of self-gratification, rejecting outside correction or authority. Proverbs clearly states that this path leads to destruction and death. Lady Wisdom invites us to follow her path of prudence and instruction. It is a path requiring diligence and leads to correction and growth. There are denial of self and a submission to the Lord and his ways. But wisdom's path leads to life and an inheritance with the Lord. Laid out in this manner, the choice seems simple. Why would anyone heed the call of woman folly? In our daily life, however, we lose sight of this clear distinction between the two paths. Our hearts are swayed by the empty promises of folly. This is where the work and method of Proverbs are so important. We need to massage these vivid depictions into our hearts so that we would choose Lady Wisdom, choose life. As she calls out in chapter 9, verse 6, leave your simple ways and live and walk in the way of insight. A few items to highlight this week of October, the middle of October. We're continuing to pray for our missionaries of the month. The Dunnings, John and Tricia Dunning, serve with Reformed University Fellowship on the Kansas State University campus. Pray for their ministry and their outreach to campus students there at K-State. Secondly, our harvest party is coming up in just a little over a week. Saturday, October 25th, we are hosting our annual harvest party right here on our church property. It's a chili cook-off. It's a trunk or treat. It's a fun evening of fellowship with our church family. We'd love for you to be a part of it. Just plan to come, be a part of it, enjoy the connection, and connect with the people that come. We often have many visitors from our community that join us for this, and it's a great opportunity to represent Oak Hills, represent Jesus Christ, and love our neighbor well. If you are able to participate by contributing and helping to the night, we'd appreciate that. We'd love to have that. We are still looking for some more people to provide a chili for our chili cook-off or provide a trunk for the trunk or treat. Use the information that we've had to sign up and be a part of that. Then we are going to be launching a new adult Christian education class on Sunday, October 26th. This class is going to be based on the book by Mark Farnham called Every Believer Confident, Apologetics for the Ordinary Christian. I'm going to be leading this class, digging into some basics of apologetics, and then we are going to be looking at specific case studies and discussing how we would respond in those specific situations. The aim of the class is just to equip us and encourage us as we seek to be faithful in sharing the gospel in personal relationships with people around us. And then on that theme, we are looking forward to the weekend of November 14th to 16th when we are hosting Ted Powers for Spiritual Conversations Conference. This is a weekend where Ted Powers is going to be walking us through much of the same kind of content, but in an in-depth manner, equipping us, encouraging us in our spiritual conversations with unbelievers. I hope you could join us Friday evening, Saturday morning, and then again Sunday morning. Ted Powers will be sharing and presenting for us that weekend. Well, thank you for joining me this week for our weekly video Touchpoint. We look forward to being with you soon. God bless.